Hi, welcome to this Business Leader Breakthroughs Minisode, where we highlight the best bits of a previous show episode. If you enjoy these quick insights and want to check out the full episode, you'll find the link in the show notes. Or go to thebreakthrough.co. Now let the breakthroughs begin. One of our big concepts is about going all in. If you want to make the change really happen, you've really got to go all in on this.
It's about commitment, and it's about having your head in it, your heart in it, and your hands in it. And the classic story about commitment is the Vikings, because when the Vikings were trying to colonize new lands as they were wandering around, raping, pillaging, and plundering as they did, when they arrived on the shore of a potential colony, they would burn their boats. And that would mean that they couldn't leave that land until they had, subdued the locals to the point where they could kind of harvest some trees and rebuild the boat. And they used to take their firstborn with them. And that would mean that their firstborn would never see their mothers again until they had successfully colonized the space and rebuilt the boat and headed for home. That's all in, right? That's thinking big, and that's being totally committed. What happens for a lot of businesses is they don't go all in. They go half in. They go half-hearted, even half-assed. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and they'd kind of come to half of the events that we run, and they'd done half the courses. And every conversation I had with them was usually I would talk about an idea that could transform themselves, transform their people, transform their business, and they would have a reason why they couldn't.
How was that working out for them?
Oh, well, not so good
Not so good.
far. There's not been a lot of change, funnily enough. If you want to transform yourself, your people, and your business, you've got to go all in. Simple as that.
Yeah. Mike, I had a similar experience to this where I myself was half in. I've come back to tennis after a long time off, and I just knew that my backhand really wasn't as strong as it should be.
Everybody knew that.
Yeah. This is the problem. I think my opposition knew it. And I was kind of able to cover up. I was able to run around and hit forehands and trying to keep off my backhand side. And then I played a very good opponent, and he just knew this was my weakness and just crushed it down my backhand side all the time.
What was the score?
I didn't think we had to say that out loud, but now that you've mentioned it, it was 6-1, 6-love. Yeah, not a great outcome. And
a great outcome.
Well, yes, in hindsight, a great outcome, because what it forced me to do was make a decision. Yeah. I was either going to remain half in and keep, fudging my backhand essentially, or I had to go all in. So all in for me on that meant getting a coach, adding in the practice time, getting on the court just about every day to make it better, and stick with it. Yeah. And do you know what happened initially?
You were really crap.
It got even worse because my coach changed absolutely everything, right? I know. And I had to unlearn something we talk about. I had to unlearn first before I could get better. But now I am getting good progress. Had another coaching session this morning, starting to hit some really good balls. So, but it took me to go all in to make that happen.
Yeah, and in the business world, lots and lots of great business owners have faced this kind of all in stuff.
So why is this going all in so hard for us? Because when we talk about it conceptually, we go, I'm all in, I want to do it. And yet actually we see many of our members struggle with the challenge of going in. Why is it so hard?
Well, as far as we can tell, all our members are human beings. Right. And what we understand about human beings is why we get stuck in habit. Our brains are great at learning things, but once they learn, they're really hard at unlearning.
Yes.
So habit then becomes easy. And trying to do new things is hard because you've got a default setting. Habit is like, your brain, the neural pathways as they're called, and probably everybody's heard of those, but you keep traveling down that neural pathway hard enough, it's like walking through a field of grass. If you go over the same path often enough, you'll wear down a path that's harder than concrete. Yep. And it's the same with our habits of thought and our habits of action, which keep getting us the same kind of result. And so when we think about how we have to shift from that, it's really hard. The pull of the familiar, even if it's mediocre and unsatisfactory, it is what we know. And we keep going back to that attachment to what we know, as opposed to facing the fear of what we don't know, the unfamiliar. So at that point, that's when we have to kind of engage this framework that we talk about, which is heads, hands, and hearts. At some point, hopefully, we'll have an idea about what's possible, about what a better life looks like, what a better version of ourselves looks like. and then our hearts will resonate with that, we'll go, oh yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want. And then, if we're smart, we'll then start acting in ways that are consistent with that. The first thing is you've got to decide, and this is the head part, decide what you're going to let go of to create space. So I'm going to get up half an hour earlier. I'm going to let that go to create space. The second one is having a clear intention. You know, there's a lovely story we heard from one of our owners not so long ago. He ran a franchise business, ordinary sort of industry with limits on the growth, etc., etc. He just sold the business. He was digging through his notes from the program way back then, and he found a piece of paper that I'd asked him to write down an unimaginable goal.
Yes.
Something that neither he nor anyone else thought that they could achieve. And he'd written this down and he found it. And he said, actually, you know, we just finished the last financial year and we achieved revenue 4 times that.
4 times the goal that he originally thought was
the unthinkable goal. And that's what he achieved by being all in, having a clear intention, completing the program. Now this guy, interestingly, he had to travel, you know, it was a 3.5 hour drive to the program. And he would do that. At that stage, we were doing them quarterly workshops.
Yes.
He would go every single workshop, never missed one.
Yep.
Always did the work, always reviewed the notes, did it all, brilliantly. Nice guy, thoughtful, intelligent, but above all, committed, all in. I think part of it, the discipline for us is shifting our language and our thinking from we will do this to we are. We have to keep reminding ourselves about not I will one day or I will when, I am, I do. When we say I am and I do, that's identity. And when we change our identity, we change our worlds.
Be today what you will become tomorrow. So don't go, I'm a small business now and I'm going to be a bigger business in the future. You go, I am that business right now. What do I need to do? How would I act when I was that business? What type of people would I have join my team? What kind of resources would I put in place to make that happen? You know, you do that today. So how do people get started with this, Mike? What do they do?
I think the first thing is not to try and add it on top of what you're doing, but create space. Do something today, take a look at everything you've got on your plate right now. Think about what you're doing and go, okay, I'm going to let go of that. And you're probably doing some things that are good or maybe even productive, but they're not useful. They're not taking you on your path to greatness. So I would absolutely say let go of something that is either underperforming now, is never going to perform, or if it does perform, it's only going to be okay. Let go of the okay and set your sights on the great. If you want to be all in, you have to take yourself out of the other stuff. The low value stuff, the stuff that you don't enjoy, the stuff that you're not good at, the stuff that you're never going to be great at. Forget it. Let it go. Get all in.
Go all in.